Welcome back to TYTSports, everybody. Still in my Mets jersey, even though this clip is probably still going up over the weekend. Hopefully we are playing in the National League Division Series, but this has nothing to do with baseball. It has to do with basketball. Andre's going to join me in just a second to go over our final. I can't say final. We're going to be doing more NBA preview stuff as the season comes along, and especially when the season begins. But our third of the day, with me wearing this specific jersey, in terms of NBA teams who could make a splash or surprise that didn't make it into either mine or Andre's top 8 for the Eastern or Western Conference predictions. Those two clips are up. You can check them out. The links are in the description box below, the card in the right-hand corner of the screen. You can link you to it, or you can just go to youtube.com/TYTSports and click on it. There's many different options. Andre, I'm going to throw to you first. I said in the email beforehand, 2 to 3 teams that can make a splash, that could surprise, that might be a wild card. Who were your 2 teams or 3 teams, and why?
So it's interesting, yeah. The way you phrased it, it was who could sneak into the top 3 in the conference. And so that's kind of where my mindset was. I have the Pistons in the East anyway. I have the Pistons and the Pacers as the 2 teams that aren't in my preseason top 3 that I think could get there. And maybe I'm not going out on a limb because they're my 4 and 5 seeds. But I really feel like the Pistons are on the rise. I feel like they're young and they have an identity that is difficult for teams to deal with, at least in the regular season. In the playoffs, it could be different, but it's the same identity that Orlando had a few years ago with Dwight Howard. Yeah. You get this dominant big man inside. You have these combo forwards that could shoot at the 3 and the 4, so it makes them a matchup difficulty for the other team. And then you have some engines and shooters in the backcourt. So it's almost like a spread, like 4 shooters and 1 big man. It's difficult. So I like that with them. And the Pacers, they're still built around Paul George, and he remembers when they were the team that was supposed to be next up, when they were the team that was supposed to challenge the Cavs for the East. And he's just getting healthier. They're adding pieces around him. And, and they had good draft picks. Miles Turner, they are, on the way up as well. So I could really see them maybe even overstepping, a Raptors or a Celtics team if they get hot and stay hot at the right time.
I'm very, very high on Miles Turner this year. I believe he is the breakout star of the NBA season. I think actually it's him and Devin Booker that have a very good chance of being the 2 extreme breakout stars. It's just the sample size is so small, and there's so many moving pieces in the Pacers, right? The new head coach, so many new acquisitions. Like that, to me, that spells one of 2 things. They play to where we believe they will, the 3, 4, 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, right? Or it's just a disaster, which I don't wish upon anybody except probably the Pacers because of Reggie Miller, them torturing me as a child. But that has nothing to do with how it works today. I believe Larry Bird is one of the best GMs in basketball. I think how he puts together his teams. I was surprised with the firing of Frank Vogel. However, why not trust Larry Bird? That team was the best in the Eastern Conference not that long ago with not too dissimilar pieces. And now I think they have better versions of those pieces. Miles Turner as potentially a breakout star. They signed Jeff Teague, who was obviously capable of running complex offensive schemes as he had to do with the Atlanta Hawks. Even though Dennis Schroeder and him were very interchangeable. I'm excited for the Hawks for that reason too. Before I go into a crazy tangent of players leading to other players, because this is how my brain works, and I get very excited about some of these players, I wanted to talk about 2 teams that we didn't really get to. And again, it's still in the Eastern Conference, so I guess we'll keep this to the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Bulls. Now, that team has a winner on them, and that is Dwyane Wade. Last year, we discredited the Heat pretty much throughout the entire season. Not maybe we as in yourself and I mean myself and other members and friends and sports writers that considered the Heat a lost cause because Dwyane Wade was too old and he couldn't turn back the clock enough years to make a run for it. And then he shows up in the playoffs and puts the entire team on his back. My biggest issue is outside of me. Yes, I know the Bulls, by the way, talking to the comment section here. I know the Bulls have Nikola Mirotic and Doug McDermott. But I make the joke that between Butler, Rondo, and Wade, they can't hit jumpers outside of 18 feet. So, and Fred Hoiberg is such a wild card in here. I'm curious your thoughts. Could the Bulls sneak in? Like, could they be a 6 seed just because the talent of Jimmy Butler, Dwyane Wade, and Rajon Rondo, if they mesh, if it all works?
Absolutely. If it all works. So I spoke a couple clips ago about the Milwaukee Bucks and how they're this athletic team that creates mismatches, but they don't have any shooting, so I don't know how it's going to work. A lot of that holds true for the Heat as well, because Jimmy Butler, he actually can knock down a three. So, he can help stretch the floor a little bit. It's the Rondo Wade backcourt that, as far as shooting goes, they don't have it. But they have everything else. And they've got some bigs that can shoot. I did not put them in my top 8.
Neither did I.
But I really do think that they could be in. It would not surprise me at all, put it like that, if they end up in the playoffs.
Right. So, look, it's, by the way, watching Wade in a Chicago Bulls jersey is to me the strangest thing I've seen this year.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to get to one other team before we have to wrap up. And it might not be the most exciting team in the NBA, but I know there's a big fan base for them. The Charlotte Hornets. And here's the one reason. The Charlotte Hornets were 30-11 at home last year, which was a better record at home than the Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Boston Celtics, who all finished ahead of them as the 3, 4, and 5 seeds respectively in that specific conference. They were the 6th seed last year. They damn right could be the 6th seed again this year. Kemba Walker has obviously proven that he can play as a starting point guard. It's just the pieces around him, are they enough? I don't think Al Jefferson was working in that system anymore, so I think him leaving for the Pacers is actually a good thing. I think they were too concerned about implementing him into the offense for many different reasons. And the defense. He used to be a beast. I'm not sure if he is that anymore. I think his role has diminished more to a 10 minutes off the bench guy for the Pacers. That could be dangerous. That's not how the Hornets were using him, though. So when it comes down to it, if the Hornets play that way at home and they win 30 games at home, they'll be in the playoffs. And they did it on with I would say, a worse fan base than that of the Celtics or the Heat, who have rabid fan bases and home court advantage during the regular season. Say it in air quotations because the Celtics and the Hawks and the Heat didn't have as good of a home record. So up for the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe Kemba Walker lights up the Garden again, as I've seen him do time and time again. Love going to watch that guy play. Wish he was wearing a Knicks jersey. Let us know who your wild card teams can be in the East or the Western Conference. We didn't talk too much about the Western Conference in this clip. If there's enough outrage about it in the comments section, we'll be back next week and we'll do it for you guys anyway. At JasonRumer91 on Twitter. Make sure to check out Andre over at the Hoops Lab. All the information in the description box below. We are out of time, but we'll see you next week.